Hello everybody, it is Miss Krista. We're going to be doing another STEM lesson today, and this is the book that we're going to start out with. It's called From Seed to Plant, and it's by Gail Gibbons. So let's take a look. Now, all the stuff she talks about in here, you're going to see in my backyard in a few minutes. All right, here we go. Most plants make seeds. A seed contains the beginning of a new plant. Seeds are all different shapes and sizes and colors. Look at how different these are. These are fun. They used to spin to the ground. When we were in Ohio, there were these trees that were in our neighborhood, and when these fall off the trees, they do a spiral, almost like a helicopter going down. But look, some are yellow, some look kind of fuzzy, like this one up here. Can you see? This kind and this kind and this kind are really neat. Those come off of dandelions. And when the wind blows, it carries them off. And they land all different places and start new plants. Okay, here is an acorn. All kinds of pretty things. Okay, here we go. All seeds grow into the same kind of plant that made them. So here we have an acorn, and when it grows, it will turn into a big oak tree. And here is a sunflower seed. You're going to see some of these in a minute. And the sunflower seed will turn into a sunflower. So whatever the seed is, that's what the plant will be. Many plants grow flowers. Flowers are where most seeds begin. So can you see in the middle, right here, and over here, and look up here? Can you see in the middle of that? That's where the seeds are. Here's another one. Can you see the seeds in there? That's from an apple tree, and I'll show you some of those in a minute. So this part of the flower is called the petal. Can you say that? Say petal. Good job. And let's see, there's all different kinds of parts that are inside the flower that we can't see. So in here, this part here is called the pistil. These guys here are called the stamens. And what else? This top part here is called the stigma. And on the ends of these, you'll see some yellow. It's real sticky, like a yellow powder. It's almost like, how many of you guys have ever eaten Cheetos or Doritos and gotten that yellow sticky cheese stuff on your fingers? Well, that is what this stuff is like if you get it on you. And these parts down here, those are called the ovules. Okay, and then here's the stem and the sepal down here. Okay, so flowers have lots of different parts. Let's see. All right, let's go here. So before a seed can begin to grow, a grain of pollen from the stamen, okay, from here, must land on the stigma up here. And let's see, and then once that happens, we will have a pollinated flower. It's called pollination. Can you say that? Pollination. Good job. Pollination happens in many different ways. Often wind blows pollen from flower to flower. See how it's blowing? There are some other ways that pollination happens. So here is a bee. And see, he likes to get at the nectar that's in there. And when that happens, remember that sticky stuff I told you about that's kind of like Cheeto cheese stuck to your fingers? Look, it gets stuck to the bee. See, pollen right there. And so as he goes from flower to flower, he's going to take that pollen and pollinate this flower and pollinate that flower. And that's another way. Okay, so bees are very, very important when it comes to springtime. Here's another animal that can pollinate flowers in the springtime. How many of you have ever seen one of these? Do you know what those birds are called? They're very tiny and they're very special. They're called hummingbirds. And out of his beak, okay, is a very long tongue called a proboscis. That's a big word. And the proboscis is how he gets at the nectar that's inside there. And sometimes he'll get some of that pollen on his body or his beak, and he'll carry it from flower to flower. Here's another one. This is a bumblebee. Those are those big guys that buzz around here really loudly. And he likes the nectar in the flower also. But look, he's got some of that sticky pollen stuck to him. So maybe he got that pollen from another flower, and he's going to go to this one now and pollinate it. And here's another hummingbird pollinating those. Okay? So, once a flower is pollinated, fruit will begin to grow, and you'll get the flower kind of dying off, but that's okay. And I'll show you some of those in just a minute. We have some just exactly like that in our backyard. So, and here's something else that can possibly grow. This is a pod. And inside a pod, you might get some kind of a bean or a pea. And those are also kinds of seeds. So when the fruit or pod ripens, it breaks open. The seeds are ready to become new plants. Can you see the seeds coming out of those? Some seeds fall to the ground around the base of the plant where they will grow. Now what do you think is going to happen if the seeds fall in that grass and there's nice warm sun out? You think that sun and the moist grass is going to help those seeds grow? You bet it is. Some pods or fruits open and the seeds pop out. Sometimes, when birds eat berries, they drop the seeds. You see the bird dropping the seeds there? There's another one with the seeds coming out. Other seeds fall into streams, ponds, rivers, or even the ocean. Isn't that a pretty picture? There they travel on the water until they stick to dirt all along the shore. Can you see the little seeds floating around in there? And look, there's some that have washed up on the shore. Here's one of those dandelions I told you about. The wind can scatter the seeds. Some seeds have fluff on them that lets them float to the ground like tiny parachutes. Others have wings that spin as they fall. There's one of those ones I told you about that go round and round and round as they go down to the ground. But look at these guys. They will blow away in the breeze, and the wind will carry them to someplace else, and that little seed at the bottom will settle. And if it gets warm from the sun and it gets some water and gets under the dirt a little bit, it will grow. Animals help scatter seeds too. They hide acorns and nuts in the ground. Some seeds have hooks that stick to the fur of animals or to people's clothes, like these guys. Later, they drop off onto the ground. Have you guys ever gotten something like that stuck on your pant or stuck on your socks or maybe your shoes? Those are a kind of seed also. God made many creative ways for those seeds to get around and become other plants. A flower bed or vegetable garden is beautiful. Seeds are planted to grow in the gardens. And that's what we have. We have so many fun things for you to see. I'll show you here in just a minute. The seeds come in small envelopes or boxes. Directions explain how to plant the seeds and care for the plants. And while you guys are all home with your moms and your dads and maybe your grandpas and your grandmas, you guys might be able to go out back and plant a seed garden. That would be something fun to do. Get you outside a little. The beginning of a plant is curled up inside each seed. Food is stored inside the seed too. The seed has a seed coat on the outside to protect it. So this gray part around here, that's the seed coat, and inside is the food for the new little plant, and here's the plant that's just beginning. A seed will not sprout until certain things happen. First, it must be on or in the soil. Then it needs rain to soak the seed and soften the seed coat. That looks like one of our monsoon storms we have in the summertime, doesn't it? When the sun shines and warms the ground, the seed coat breaks open and the seed begins to grow. Can you see that seed starting to grow? Can you see the root coming out? And can you see the little tiny plant starting to push its way up? A root grows down into the soil. The root takes in the water and minerals from the soil for food. So when it rains, the rain will soak down into the soil, and the root acts kind of like a bunch of little straws. Can you see that? How many of you have ever used a straw in your drink before? Well, you suck up whatever it is you're drinking, and that's what these roots do. They will suck up the water, and it will travel up to the plant. And when he breaks up there and gets through that soil, Mr. Sun over here is going to warm him up and make him grow even faster. Okay? Leaves. There we go. Up grows a shoot. Can you see that? See the leaves on the shoot? Green leaves grow up from the shoot towards the sun. The plant grows bigger and bigger. The leaves make food for the plant from the water and minerals in the soil, the sunlight, and the air all around the plant. Finally, the plant is full grown. Buds on the plant open into flowers where new seeds will grow. Many of the foods people eat are seeds, fruits, and pods. They are full of nutrition, vitamins, and minerals, and they're tasty too. Can you see these? See the corn? Those are kind of a seed. And down here, those peas, that's another kind of a seed. And if you like nuts, that's another kind. Look down here, there's some sunflower seeds. How many of you like to eat sunflower seeds? I know we do at our house. We like the pickle flavor ones. All right. Okay, we're going to call that the end of the book. And I'm going to walk around and show you our backyard. There's our backyard. We're working on some projects at the moment, so I'll tell you about those. And that down there is Capone. Popo, say hi to everybody. Hello, Capone. Okay, so I'm going to walk around and show you our backyard. So here is Peyton's swing set. Let me get that. There we go, adjust the light. Peyton's swing set. And he's not out here at the moment, so let's see what we can find over here. All right, these guys, these are onions. They're baby onions that are growing up out of the dirt. And over here, this is a really cool plant. It's called citronella. And what it does is it has this really strong smell. And if you have mosquitoes that come out in the summertime, they will not want to be around you if you're near one of these plants. They do not like the smell of citronella. And in here, just the other day I planted some cilantro seeds and they haven't come up yet, but I'll keep you guys posted and we'll keep checking. And then over here, this big, long, tall, spindly plant is my husband's grapevine. And last year we had so many grapes that we were able to invite a bunch of the neighbor kids to come over and just eat as much as they wanted. So that was fun. God blessed us with a big bounty last year. And if you look right here, these were once flowers a few weeks ago, but they're actually teeny tiny little grapes. Can you see all the little grapes on there? So we'll have to keep an eye on those because we usually get some kind of a caterpillar on there. And then down here, this is my daughter's rose that she picked out a few years ago. Aren't these pretty? She loves this color. Okay, here is our vegetable patch. And I'm going to show you guys what everything is in here. See if I can get this thing to focus. Hold on one second. I'm going to clean the screen. Is that better? A little bit? There we go. Okay, so these guys, this is really cool. These are called Anasazi beans, and they were used by the Anasazi Native Americans up near the Four Corners area, and these actually came from Colorado. And most seeds you get, you can't plant them again once the plant comes up the first time. The seeds from that one won't work. But these do. So my husband and I have been growing these for a while, and we get some every time we grow new ones. They were found in the original beans were found in a pot by some people, and I'll have to show you some in just a little while. But they were unknown about until they were found in this pot that had been there for over 1,000 years. So they're kind of red and they've got like white crackles on them. So those are really neat. And there we've got more Anasazis and more Anasazis. And let's see. All right, back here. Okay, I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, this one is a baby tomato plant. Hasn't got much more than just a flower on it right there, if you can see that. And then over here we have a green bell pepper plant. And here we've got another tomato plant with, look, a couple of tomatoes on it. And over here I've got a bunch of these. These are my basil plants. You can see them popping up. And these guys back in here, those are radishes, and we planted them from these little tiny seeds a few weeks ago, and they're already popping up. But this is the really special part. Look right here. See these little tiny guys poking up through the soil? That's lettuce. We are trying to grow some lettuce and see what they do. We've never grown those before. All right, let's see. Forgive my shaky hands here. Okay, these guys are, let's see, I think they're watermelon. Yeah, these are watermelon. So, and what I think is really interesting, look at the shape of the leaves and the design on them. Don't the leaves look like watermelons themselves? I think those are pretty neat. And then here, we've got some baby cucumber plants coming up. How many of you guys like cucumber? We love cucumber at our house. There's some more watermelon plants. Little teeny tiny guys. And back here we've got some peas that are coming up. And we've got some more lettuce back there. See all the lettuce? And then, let's see. We zoom in. Okay, those guys that are back there against the wall, those are sunflowers. And I think we've got some more growing. Right there, there's some more sunflowers coming up. So the ones we planted this year aren't the ones we normally do. These sunflowers are going to be kind of yellow with mostly red on the petals. So I'll bring some pictures in to you guys or email them to you when those are big and tall. Probably won't be until the fall. All right, let's take a look at some of our other plants. Okay, this big guy right here is a pomegranate tree. And I think we've got some in all different stages here. Let me find a good small one here. Here we go. Okay, take a look at these guys. This is going to be the flower in another couple of weeks. And look at what a pretty red those are. Look at that. So pretty. And we have a flower that's open. Where did I see that? See, oh, here's one. Check this out. See the flower starting to open up? Let me see if I can get it to bend. See it? Look at that. And then look in the middle. Can you see all the parts of the flower we had talked about? And if you look on those, the yellow things, there's some of that sticky pollen that we talked about. See, oh look, yep. Some came off on my thumb. Can you see the yellow on there? A little bit? Yep. So those are pomegranates. And this guy has already gone through his flower phase. And this part right here is going to be the fruit. You can see the dead blossom there. Remember how when we talked about apples, we talked about if you look on the bottom of the apple, you can still see the old blossom? Well, you can with these guys too. Can you see the baby blossom in there that's kind of all dried up? And there's the fruit. And when these get full grown in the fall, they will probably be about as big as my hand, some of them. Okay? So here we have a grapefruit tree. And these are fun. I grew up with citrus trees like this. My dad had 40 citrus trees on our property, and he loved all different kinds. But this one was always one of my favorite. It gives you pink grapefruit, and they're called ruby reds. And here you can see a blossom. Can you see the yellow sticky pollen on the end there? And I see some pollinators. Can you find some pollinators on there? What does it look like those are? Are those ants? Yep, sure is. And so when the ants run across the pollen all on the outside, they're going to get it on that main part there in the middle. And when they do that, it's going to fertilize that blossom, and then we'll get one of these. So here's what is left right there. That yellow stick looking thing is that right there where the pollen needs to go. So this guy's been pollinated because back here is the baby grapefruit. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Let's see what else we have in our backyard. Okay, this tree is a nectarine. It's like a peach that doesn't have any fuzz on it. And I believe this, well, we just got this tree a couple of years ago. We haven't had any fruit yet, but look. We have 2 nectarines growing right there. Isn't that neat? And down here, we've planted some cilantro. And something else I just spied. Remember I talked to you guys about the word volunteer? Remember what that means? To volunteer to do something means you do it without being asked. Okay? So my family's from Tennessee, and I have always heard about volunteer plants. And my husband and I have been laughing about this because we apparently have a lot of them this year, and I spy one growing right there. Can you see the difference between the cilantro leaves and that one? What do those leaves look like to you? Do they look kind of like the watermelon we had? They sure do. So this backyard gives the most amazing things that we don't plant. Don't know what happened. There we go. But last year or the year before, we ended up having tomato plants just pop up all over this area. We didn't plant any tomato seeds. We don't know what in the world happened, but we actually had one. Of growing under the grapefruit, and he had so many cherry tomatoes on him, we named him Tiny Tim. So Tim stuck around and did really well for about, a year and a half. So, and then, I promised you guys we'd look at this. This is so neat. Okay, this is our little apple tree that you guys have heard so much about. And let's see. It's the tree we've only had for about 2 years. And this is one of the baby apples. And believe it or not, they are not going to get a whole lot bigger than that. I mean, look how tiny they are. You can see they're already starting to turn red. Last year, the apples got to be about this big, pretty little. I mean, look at that. It's not real big at all. Just probably pop that whole thing in your mouth if you wanted to. And that's about how big they're going to be this year. But we have quite a few of them. We got some growing there. It's got some roses growing down there left over from Valentine's Day. Oh, and look here. Look at this one. Okay, remember we talked about the bottom part of the apple has that old blossom on it. Can you see that right there? There's the old blossom. Look, you can even see some of the petals, like right there. Right there. Can you see that? There's the old blossom, and there's the fruit. Isn't that neat? So that is our, sorry about the fuzzy. There we go. Is that working? There we go. So that is our apple tree. And this guy, my husband thought I was pretty silly for wanting him. He's nothing more than a stick at this point. There we go. See all of him? This is a pear tree that we got up in Catalina at Tractor Supply a few weeks ago. And if you look at him, he's got these bumps. Can you see those bumps? You see all those? Those going up and down? There's a good one. And my husband teases me that the tree is really dead. It's not going to do anything, but I keep reminding him that it has these little bumps on it. And if it has a bump like that, and it's getting water and sunshine, it'll grow, because those bumps are going to turn into leaves, which will grow into branches. And if we wait long enough, those branches will eventually have flowers and fruit for us. So gardening takes quite a long time sometimes, but it's a lot of fun, and it's worth it. All right. Okay, remember how we talked about birds and they move seeds around? Remember we also talked last fall about how birds can, let's see how I can say this. Well, I'll use one of your favorite words. How birds can poop. Well, birds poop after they eat some berries. Poe's over here eating grass. And this is a palm tree that just started growing in our backyard. And we can't think of any other way that it could have gotten here other than a bird pooping. So there you go. Because the poop actually helps the seeds to grow. It's called fertilizer. So this tree is one of my favorites. It is called a fruit cocktail tree. How many of you have ever had fruit cocktail before? If you have, it's chopped up fruit that comes out of a can. Maybe you can ask Mom and Dad to let you try some next time you get something from the grocery store. And this tree actually grows 3 different kinds of fruit. And I'll show you what they are. These guys right here that look like these green walnuts, those are apricots. Those are like those little tiny peaches that you get in the store. And then this half of the tree that really doesn't have a whole lot on it yet, this is the peach half. And it grows yellow peaches and it grows white peaches. And I got this tree for my children, really, when they were off for a while visiting their dad. And Gracie's very favorite is the apricots over here. And Grant's very favorite are these little guys, the peaches. He likes those a whole bunch. And I don't know which one of these are going to be white and which are going to be yellow, but we'll find out. The peach side looks like it's kind of the late bloomer. Kind of look here. You have, if I can focus for you. There we go. We've got some peach blossoms right there. Can you see the pollen that's there, that yellow sticky stuff? Capone, please. Sorry, dog's over here eating grass and getting sick. So there's some of those peach flowers or blossoms. And look at this one. He hasn't even come out yet. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. Can we see him? There. Yep, right there. And let's find one that's just coming out. There's one. See? He's coming out of that blossom right there. Right there. And got another blossom down here. So we're going to have 2 peaches right there, if all goes well. Here's another couple of little teeny tiny peaches. Let me put my fingers behind it. Can you see how tiny those peaches are? And look, they're fuzzy already. They're fuzzy like peaches. So this is our fruit cocktail tree. We have a lot of fun with this one. And this one over here is called a blood orange. And it doesn't mean that there's actual blood in the oranges. We call it that because the fruit when it comes out is red. And it has almost like a raspberry flavor to it. We really like this tree and the fruit a lot. And over here, there's a little clump of baby blood oranges. Can you see them? Can you see the old part of the blossom, the stem sticking out? And there's the little tiny green fruit in the middle. So if you see these on any trees you have, don't knock them off because those are going to be your yummy oranges next winter, okay? So citrus fruit is usually ripe and ready around December or January. All right, here's some more of those crazy volunteer plants. We had a whole bunch of these pop up and we don't really know why. This is, we believe this is either watermelon or pumpkin. And they were growing just all in here. They came out from under rocks. Look, here's a couple coming out from under that rock. Isn't that nuts? Right there. And here's some more. And here's some more. You know, and my husband thought, well, maybe we dropped all the seeds or something like that. But they were way under the grass. And he doesn't think that that's possible for them to do that. So we're just looking at this as a blessing from God, because usually the ones that grow randomly in our yard do the best. So there we've got a bunch of them. And there's one coming out from under a rock. So, and last year, I think I brought you guys some pictures. See where the hose is under Peyton's swing set? We had a pumpkin just randomly start growing there. And it did the best out of all the pumpkins we planted. So, all right. And then this is our other flower bed. And then we're about done here. So down here, it looks like we've got some watermelons or pumpkins. Here's another batch right here. These are some of the ones that we dug up from outside of the fence here. There were just too many and we were going to step on